Chapter 7. The Unfathomable Power of a Mastermind. Look, there are one people with one language, and this is what they have started to do. Now there's nothing that they may have in mind to do that will be impossible for them. Taken from Genesis chapter 11, verse 6. This concept is powerful. We may want to consider that it is the most powerful system that we can plug into. In a previous chapter, it was stated that Andrew Carnegie mentored Napoleon Hill to codify success. Napoleon Hill learned the mastermind teaching from Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world at the turn of the century. This conviction is also found through the scriptures, mainly through the example of Jesus. He successfully replicated his knowledge through his best friends and ultimately had them do the same. This replication process perpetuated until it transformed the thinking of the known world. This is not to emphasize on a set of spiritual beliefs over others, but it is to emphasize that this basic concept of action as a foundation will permeate and perpetuate success, whatever we choose that to be. If we desire to get in the best shape possible, we can gather a group of people that will support us in that endeavor. If we desire to develop a certain skill, we can get together with like-minded people with the same goal. If we desire to engage in a business, this support system will propel us to incredible heights of success. The mastermind is a group of people that support each other in their endeavors. They all have one common goal, and that is to support each other's dreams or goals, whatever they are. For example, let's imagine that a group of 7 friends form a mastermind, and they make a solemn promise to each other that they will get together on a regular basis to discuss each other's dreams and goals. Let's suppose that each individual states their dreams in the following way. Person 1 wants to become fit and healthy. Person 2 wants to find a spouse or a soulmate. Person 3 wants to pursue a career in business. Person 4 wants to improve a relationship with spouse. Person 5 wants to increase monthly income by $2,000. Person 6 wants to increase monthly income by $3,000. Person 7 wants to start a coffee shop. Each individual in the mastermind will state to each other their goals and desires, and everyone else will agree to support and help each other by transmitting positive recognition for each other's dreams. It could happen that a mastermind may choose a single common purpose. Maybe they choose to put a portion of their incomes together to start up a company based on product X or service Y. As such, under one common goal, they will be more likely to accomplish what they want faster than if they were to try to do it individually. The following 8-step pattern for success is a proven method that can help us form a powerful mastermind that we can engage with for whatever purpose and goal we may desire to achieve. Whether the mastermind is set up to support each individual's goal or the collective decision to accomplish a common goal, this pattern for success can be applied to one's personal endeavors, regardless of a person having a mastermind or not. Thus, it could be used to start a business or project of achievement. The 8-step pattern for success. This system is used by some of the most financially successful individuals as well as companies. This system perpetuates success faster than anything else. A billionaire described this system as a proven method and not a theory. It is a fact that it helps people become financially successful or independent. Although money may not be our goal or dream, it is important that we realize that real physical cash and the things it can buy are quantifiable. We can see it, touch it, smell it, and feel it with our senses. They are real physical manifestations in the real physical world that we live. These people have been able to broadcast the frequency of their desired result and have it permeate their matrix of reality to the point where they are able to see the results of their prolonged broadcast. They have successfully focused so much energy into the field of wave frequencies to the point of it spilling over into the particle field of energy. It takes the dreams already in existence in the ether of infinite possibilities to the realm of energy defined by observation, time, and space. Refer to chapters 2 and 3 for emphasis of these physical laws of the universe. This system is also essentially described in detail in the biblical reference. We may want to strongly consider using this systematic approach to success to create what we want, since it is referred by the triad of knowledge, science, spirituality, and philosophy. The foundation of this system lies in our ability to make the decision that we will become successful. This decision is defined by its first step. Step 1. Clearly define your dream and get a burning desire for its achievement. Quote, write down the vision and inscribe it clearly on tablets, so that the one reading out loud from it may do so easily, for the vision is yet for its appointed time, and it is rushing towards its end, and it will not lie. Even if it should delay, keep an expectation of it, for it will without fail come true. It will not be late. End quote. Taken from Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. This is the first step and the most important one. If we fail to do this correctly, the rest of the system will not work. This is of foremost importance, and it is paramount in this system that we do this single step appropriately. On a white sheet of paper with a pen with blue ink, write down the following in order. 1. Write dreams, goals, and desires as the title of the paper. 2. Write down all the things that you will have, be, or do if money were not an object. It is important in this step that we do not prejudge goals and dreams. We must use our imagination and really dream. Consider what Tesla was able to accomplish. He has had the most influence on all the technology that currently exists today. Also, as we have read, he imagined and dreamed of a society and a world of people who live eternally in youth and beauty. He saw it as the aching need of humanity. If that was his dream and thus his drive to create so much as a result, then in reality, it is our imagination that we must exercise to broadcast the proper frequencies. It is our moral obligation to do the same as Tesla did. We must dream big. Obviously, our dreams could be of a spiritual nature. We may desire happiness, contentment, joy, peace of mind, or more love. Maybe we desire better qualities in ourselves, such as kindness, goodness, patience, or more self-control. We could desire more faith in life and in our thoughts. This would be outstanding goals and dreams, and we can certainly create a magnificent lifestyle based on these principles. It will certainly create an abundance of happy feelings in our lives. It may probably be the best way to go about making sure we feel good most of the time. Quote, happy are those conscious of their spiritual need, end quote, taken from Matthew chapter 5, verse 3. Thus, we can write these things as goals and desires, if that is what we truly want on our list. Maybe we desire a mate or partner in our life. We may desire relationships of one sort or another. We may have desires for people in our lives that share our common interests, hobbies, business, or intellectual pursuits. It is fantastic to know also that we may desire more opulence and wealth in our lives. The exercise of fear in any area of our lives will influence and spill over to all other areas of our lives that gives us happiness or contentment. If we desire bigger homes or mansions, luxury cars, sports cars, yachts, trips, furniture, clothing, more money, or anything that is of a material nature, that is absolutely fine and commendable. Many people may have limiting beliefs or misinterpretations from sources that seem to give credence to such beliefs. This creates fear and chaos in people's lives. For example, many sources quote money or material things as the root of all evil and credit such principles to the biblical reference or other spiritual references. Rest assured that when we carefully examine such thoughts, when referring spiritual leaders, most of the time, they are being misconstrued or misinterpreted. The Bible does not teach that money is the root of all evil, but instead it specifically says in 1 Timothy chapter 6 verses 9 through 10, quote, "But those determined to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and many senseless and harmful desires that plunge men into destruction and ruin. For the love of money is a root of all sorts of injurious things." End quote. Another verse also emphasizes the contrary. Quote, "I pray that in all things you continue to prosper and enjoy good health." End quote. Taken from 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. It is clear here that it is not money itself that is wrong, but that love of money can trap people into harboring wrong desires, and thus money can become a root of all sorts of injurious things. It is a general statement that we must examine with careful discernment. People will steal or sell things that are harmful to others. For example, a drug dealer will kill and corrupt others in order to profit from others' addictions. His desire for money is stronger and far more powerful than any love he may have for the good of others. And it is others' peace of mind and goodness that are sacrificed for the greed of that drug dealer. That is why most of them end up in jail or dead. People will create schemes to dispossess people of their property and valuables. Wars have been started in order to take away others' possessions and natural resources. People will gamble hard-earned money or sell possessions to continue gambling with the hope of quick riches, and in the process they lose it all. People will prostitute themselves or their children for the sake of money. People will kidnap others and ask for ransom money in exchange. The list goes on and on. Clearly, it is not money in itself, but the love of money over the love of people that is evil and a root of all sorts of injurious things. If we desire for money through honest and hard work, or by creating a service or product that truly brings benefits to others, then it would be loving to do so. It is our moral obligation to provide such goods for others to benefit. We must never sacrifice other people's happiness and well-being for the sake of our own dreams, goals, and desires. If we do so, we are just acting out of fear and disregard for the value of life. We will never attain happiness by taking it away from others, because by law, we must reap what we have sown, and thus our happiness and well-being will be taken away from us. It is paramount that we realize that unlimited wealth is our inheritance. For when we examine carefully how we are made, we understand that eternity is our nature. We previously established and suggested that with unlimited time and youth as a resource, then we can create whatever we desire without any fear or doubt. Dream book and dream board. This step is paramount to continue establishing strong neural pathways of our dreams so you can get a burning desire. Creating a dream board and a dream book will help us to focus and experience the things you desire in your mind as if you already had them. Previously, we discussed how the focused decision of plants powerfully affects particles of light so they become what they need. In the same manner, we must get or become what we think about most of the time. Take the list you wrote of your dreams and desires and cut out pictures and place them on a big board on the wall. We can go online and find anything and everything we may desire. Pictures of cars, houses, furniture, home improvements, trips, yachts, etc. People smiling and enjoying time together can mean that you desire contentment or happiness. If it is freedom you desire, then think of the things you would do if you have more free time and money. There is no limit as to what we can acquire and experience. We can have, be, and do whatsoever we desire. Do the same thing with your dream book. Grab a 3-ring binder, put pages in, and paste pictures. Nowadays, people are looking at things on computers or cell phones. These things may be helpful, but we must remember that just like physical words will affect the molecular structure of water, physical pictures with words expressing our dreams can help us make them a reality. The vibrational frequencies of these pictures will permeate our neural pathways and our DNA. We will begin to transmit what we want 24/7 to the point of its physical manifestation. This is why it is so important that we have hard copies of pictures because of their specific transmission. When we are observing images through computer screens, the pictures are not there in our reality. These images on our computer do not have the vibrational imprint as real pictures do. Real hard copy images have energy, and they permeate the energy of our living space when we put them on a dream board or dream book. As we carry our dream book everywhere, its collective vibration will permeate our collective vibration. This detail will help us create faster. It is also important that, if we can, we physically go out and touch and see our dreams and goals. Go look at the house. Go sit in the car. Put the clothing on. Experience the new living room. Drive by rich neighborhoods. Watch shows about people who have accomplished big dreams. This helps us become inspired by the fact that they have successfully created what they want in their lives. Other people's success stories must and will have a tremendous positive influence, for we can replicate and apply the same processes to our respective goals. We will also find that their focus of attention was entirely on one specific dream, with a corresponding burning desire for its achievement. Napoleon Hill, in his books, had emphasized that we must focus on one thing at a time. We may start the process by building on the smaller dreams, and we have now put in our dream book or dream board, and progressively work on our bigger goals as they unfold in our present awareness. What to expect? Quote, "Look, a sower went out to sow. As he was sowing, some seeds fell alongside the road, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell on rocky ground, where there was not much soil, and they immediately sprang up because the soil was not deep. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. Still others fell on the fine soil, and they began to yield fruit. This one 100 times more, that one 60, the other 30. End quote. Taken from Matthew chapter 13, verses 3 through 8. Although this illustration was specifically pinpointed to the effects of Jesus' message about the kingdom of God, its connotations are closely relevant to our dreams and desires. Consider that we are constantly sowing seeds of desires in our minds, whether it is for more money, a house, health, or fitness. These are specific neural pathway imprints that will become fertile with proper care and nourishment. We will reap fruitage and results based on those seeds of desires. There are warnings, though, that could prevent us from reaching the point of reaping fruit. The first one is referred to seed being eaten up by birds of the field. This is a dire warning that we must take to heart. If we decide to put our dreams and goals where others can easily see them, we risk losing those seeds by having others steal our dreams or goals. How or why? Because most people are negative and have envy. People generally do not like others to become more successful than themselves. People will criticize and condemn others' goals, dreams, and accomplishments that they themselves may not have. They will attribute them to wrong motives, selfishness, and greed. Or maybe they will testify to facts or opinions of other people's experiences and suggest that our endeavors will not work out. For example, we may want to start a coffee shop. If we decide out of excitement to start telling others of our dream of having a successful coffee shop, they may start spewing negativity to us. They may say, "It won't work. There's too much competition. You're not educated enough. I know of so-and-so and they failed." We must keep our dreams to ourselves and work on them almost like if it were our secret mission. Exposure to the enemy risks the success of the operation. The second part of the illustration explains that our seed may fall in rocky ground without deep soil. It sprang up, but the sun scorched it. The key here is that the root cannot go deep, and thus the plant that sprang up was exposed to the sun. We must build a deep foundation in ourselves if we wish to become successful in our endeavors. That is why the system of reading books, listening to audio, and attending meetings with like-minded people who support us is paramount. Building ourselves up as people and building our belief in ourselves is essential in having deep roots whenever we make the decision to achieve a desired outcome. As such, we will have every advantage to make it happen. The sun's scorching heat also could represent our own negative thinking that may eat away at our dreams and goals. We already discussed that others' negative input will have a dire impact on our desires if we easily expose our dreams to them. But in reality, even if we decide to keep our goals to ourselves, the time will come when we have to face our own negative input as well as others. This will become evident as we progressively make our dreams come true. Our lack of pillars of belief in ourselves and in our ability to do it can burn up our plans. Also, as we experience challenges, we may get discouraged from persevering to reach our goals or dreams. We may get near the finish line and decide to just give up right before crossing it and attaining the prize. It is paramount that we realize that continuing our personal development will enrich the fertile soil where our seeds will be allowed to grow and prosper. Let's be resolved to not let anyone steal our dreams, including ourselves. It is our moral obligation to do whatever it takes to acquire what we want. The third part of the illustration explains to us that there are thorns that may surround our seed and prevent it from growing. The scripture reference refers to thorns as anxieties of the world or distractions. The world is full of weapons of mass distraction. Our media, entertainment, hobbies, and other seemingly necessary things will rob us of the time and energy that may be needed to be focused on our dreams to accomplish them. Like previously discussed, the entire focus of all plants is to reach photosynthesis. In the same manner, we should strip from ourselves time stealers so we may have laser focus on our desires. We must remember that it is our ability to persevere and persist that will allow us, using our brains, to transmit a beam of frequency so powerful it has no choice but to manifest in our present reality. It is the law and it demands it. Step 2. Make some commitments. Quote, "The kingdom of the heavens is like a treasure hidden in the field that a man found and hid. And because of his joy, he goes and sells everything he has and buys that field." Again, the kingdom of the heavens is like a traveling merchant seeking fine pearls. Upon finding one pearl of high value, he went away and promptly sold all the things he had and bought it. End quote. taken from Matthew chapter 13, verses 44 through 46. Making commitments is another important key to acquiring that which we want. Our ability to make a solemn promise to achieve our dreams is required if we are to see its physical manifestations in our reality. The illustration states plainly that we must, in essence, be willing to give up and sacrifice whatever it takes to achieve our dreams. It is the law, and it demands for it. The person hid his treasure and then sold everything so he could buy the field where his treasure was. He sacrificed everything and was glad to do it. He knew it was necessary. The other showed the same industriousness, and thus the merchant, finally finding the fine pearl, promptly sold all the things he had to buy it. Many people are aware of an interview that Larry King had with Bill Gates. About Bill Gates' secrets to success, Gates emphasized 3 key ingredients. Number 1, being at the right place at the right time. This means that as we establish a goal or dream, we will get people and circumstances that will help us to get what we want. Like the illustration, we will finally find our fine pearl of high value, translated into an opportunity or a certain means to achieve what we want. We will see that we will be given every advantage to achieve what we desire by the universe. The physical universe will mirror to us exactly what we need, but just being at the right place at the right time is not enough. Number 2, depth of vision. Bill Gates had depth of vision when it came to the potential of personal computers. We can readily see a track record of what kind of vision he had. Today, he has become one of the richest people on earth. Quote, where there is no vision, the people go unrestrained, but happy are those who observe the law. End quote. Taken from Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. It has been said that when people are not given a purpose, or something to do for that matter, they become depressed and frustrated. It is imperative that when we realize that once we transmit a vibration for our desires and a how presents itself, we must do our due diligence and research such opportunity. We may also be forced to see the potential of such opportunity so we may readily engage. Quote, again, the kingdom of the heavens is like a dragnet let down into the sea and gathering fish of every kind. When it was full, they hauled it up onto the beach, and sitting down, they collected the fine ones into the containers, but the unsuitable they threw away. End quote. Taken from Matthew chapter 13, verses 47 and 48. We may also find that we may have many opportunities falling right into our lap. We may become confused or bewildered. At this point, like hauling many fish, we must do our due diligence and use our powers of perception based on our personal strengths and weaknesses. Choose one single opportunity and engage by focusing on that opportunity. Quote, the wise man puts all his eggs in one basket and watches the basket. End quote, by Andrew Carnegie. Quote, your eyes should look straight ahead. Yes, fix your gaze straight ahead of you. Smooth out the course of your feet, and all your ways will be sure. Do not incline to the right or to the left. Turn your feet away from what is bad. End quote. Taken from Proverbs chapter 4, verses 25 through 27. These illustrative teachings are precise and to the point. We must know with certainty from the beginning that it is our perseverance and commitment to our dream through a singular means precisely what will create our success. We should also be aware of distracting opportunities that may come up along the way, so that, like thorns choking our seeds, other opportunities may not prove fatal to our already committed ways and have to start all over. We cannot jump from opportunity to opportunity thinking that one is better than the other. our original seed will not get the proper watering and fertilizing and will not grow to produce fruitage. Number 3, massive immediate action. It has been established already that we must be teachable and coachable. We must be willing to give up and sacrifice things if we are to achieve what we desire. Quote, the lazy one says, there is a young lion in the road, a lion in the public square. A door keeps turning on its hinges and the lazy on his bed. The lazy one buries his hand in the banquet bowl, but he's too tired to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy one thinks he is wiser than 7 people who give a sensible reply. End quote. Taken from Proverbs chapter 26, verses 13 through 16. What did King Solomon mean by the lazy one screaming lion in the market? This reference is understood to refer to the lazy person's negative thinking. His fear of trying to accomplish anything in his life overwhelms all logic and desired outcome. In his mind, through his fear, a lazy person will picture in his mind every possible scenario that will make his pursuit fruitless. Therefore, the lazy person will stay in his bed, inactive, or will start a project, putting his hand in the food platter, but never finishing the task to the point and cannot bring the project to completion. And like a completely unteachable person, the lazy think themselves as wise. Therefore, they feel like they know it all and will always have a negative opinion about everything and everyone. Quote, so if any one of you is lacking in wisdom, let him keep asking God, for he gives generously to all and without reproaching, and it will be given him. But let him keep asking in faith, not doubting at all, for the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea and driven by the wind and blown about. In fact, that man should not expect to receive anything from Jehovah. He is an indecisive man, unsteady in all his ways. End quote. Taken from James chapter 1, verse 5. Here, the idea is rather simple. Under the context of being committed and taking massive immediate action. The person who doubts will not have the positive vision of a positive outcome, but instead he will see negative outcomes. The doubtful person's imagination will prevent them from taking any possible action because they already decided it will not work. The only hope we have, if we have such mental disposition, is to ask for wisdom as suggested by the text. Our doubt will keep us in a state of indecision because we believe every path will lead to a lion that will eat us alive. How could we ever finish any task or accomplish anything if we are in constant fear of failure? This is not to put aside any acknowledgement that failure will happen, but we already discussed the true nature of failure. Most of the time, failure is inevitable, and as such, we will experience pain. But like a pregnant woman in labor, the woman will quickly forget her pain when he sees her child and the product of her pain. In the same manner, once we begin working hard and taking the necessary actions toward the fulfillment of our desired outcome, as long as we persevere regardless of failures, our energies will continue to be redirected towards fulfillment as long as we keep our commitment. We must remember that the energy of our decision and commitment is not attached to one specific how, but our ability to stick to our dreams while working toward them is what will manifest it into our reality. It is the energy that is being transmitted 24/7, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, that will continue to be at work until finally we receive what we want. The paradox is that we do need a how, or a means of receiving so we may open our hands to receive. We must make the decision to act and stick to that decision as if it is the only option. We must truly be willing to give it all we got. It is the law, and it demands for it like the government demands taxes. Step 3. Be a product of what you are given. This step has been defined as using the product of being a product of the product. Another way of saying this is being a product or a positive outcome of what we are selling. A positive man brings out of his good treasure from his heart, but a negative person brings out of his bad treasure from his heart. For out of the heart's abundance, the mouth speaks. End quote. Taken from Luke chapter 6, verse 45. The wording was changed a little to convey the intention of the principle with objectivity. Author is not trying to present anyone as wicked as the actual and original rendering denotes. This teaching relates more closely to our ability to make money in a way that we absolutely love. We must get to the point of loving what we do or doing what we love. For example, if we examine the most common denominators of people who are ultra successful, it is because they are doing what they absolutely love, and they also inherited the abilities necessary for such success. People are ultra successful partly because they are really good at what they do. Quote, have you seen a man skillful at his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before common people. End quote. Taken from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29. Athletes become super athletes because they love the sports they engage in. Artists love to perform in front of audiences or the camera. Chefs receive Michelin stars because they absolutely love what they do. Restaurateurs open magnificent, successful restaurants because they love to be hospitable, thus the term hospitality business. Scientists love to find out how things work, deconstructing them and reporting their findings. The point is being made clear to us today. It is not the money that will give us the satisfaction, but finding out what our passion is and pursuing that with all our heart, strength, and desire. We must know and come to find out what our strengths and natural abilities are in order to access real wealth and prosperity. We may at times wonder what exactly is our passion, but the reality is that the answer is always in front of us, right under our noses. Some people have found the answer by asking, what things do I absolutely cannot go without doing? There are many sources that can help us define this clearly, but there is an even greater shortcut. We can command the universe, or God, what exactly is our brain wiring, our nature, to zero in our passion, or what is the one thing we personally are really good at doing? In essence, our gift to the world. The answer will come up continually as we exercise our awareness of our thought, emotions, and the many people and circumstances that will mirror to us exactly the answer to what we have been asking. To give you an example, one day I was speaking to my boss, who was the owner of a very successful high-end restaurant. I asked him if he liked what he did. My boss was in his 70s, and with enthusiastic, vivid Texan way, he said, I love it. There's nothing else I would dream of doing. I asked him whether this was what he studied for. He said he was going to become a lawyer, but that it did not pan out. He ended up serving tables at various restaurants and then becoming a manager. Then he finally opened the restaurant he always dreamed about. Then there are others who are born into already successful family businesses but do not love doing the business. They may have become financially successful but not necessarily love what they do. I personally struggle to find my true niche and connection to my natural abilities. I come from a very humble background with parents who, even to this day, struggle to make a living. I did not inherit money or wealth of any kind. I only had certain passions that were passed down to me. I did not finish college for lack of character and decision. I knew I loved reading, research, and science. Math came easy to me as well. I loved to build things and put together things like furniture. As a kid, I would spend hours and hours playing with my toy building blocks and build structures by deconstructing and reconstructing. I also came to find out that it was easy for me to get specific concepts that are hard to understand and that I was able to break them down to their very basic principles. I found that I was a good teacher, but I was not a great speaker. I did find I was good at writing with persuasion and tactfulness. I had all these facts but did not know how to put them together in a way that would allow me to cash in on my strengths. I asked my wife to help me transmit a frequency to find out what I could do to accomplish our desires and manifest what we wanted. Interestingly enough, up to this point, we have tried various avenues of pursuit, but they all failed miserably. The main focus we had chosen, which we have been working on for almost 4 years, came to a halt. And by circumstances beyond our control, the avenue we were pursuing was dismantled at the last minute. It had to do with a money-making opportunity, but certain government authorities at the last second came in and changed the whole program. I lost all interest in the program. I had invested a substantial amount of money with no real results. Something amazing did come from it. I now had powerful information that had improved the most important aspects of my life. Each facet of my life was better thanks to something that seemed to be a failure. My wife and I began to see a big picture of what I could do. She started to get feedback from the universe, telling us to write a book. She was watching movies and TV shows where there were successful writers being portrayed. I kept getting similar feedback. As such, I decided to write a book based on these principles of life and the fabric of the universe and how it relates to us, the biggest minority, the individual. Since childhood, I had read and reread the biblical reference with a very personal positive impact. I could see my life was better off than most people who did not follow specific principles contained there. But I also saw that there were people who applied such principles even though they did not read the biblical reference. Their life was also better not because of a book, but because they knew, consciously or subconsciously, the principles of life that are inherent in the nature of humans as they relate to the physical universe and its laws. I found there were many philosophical theories that referred to these principles and paralleled those found in the Bible. Finally, I came to study principles of success as found through the many exclusive societies throughout the world. This instruction gave me a powerful realization. I knew that there was no way for people to achieve super wealth and success without readily applying certain principles in the universe. It was the law. I always understood that people who had what I wanted knew information I did not. What will blow my mind away is that many people could not reconcile spiritual beliefs with philosophy and new discoveries in science. I did realize that there was enough common denominators found through these fields of study that, if expanded upon, would allow us to see a powerful way to learn our personal abilities and exploit them. I wanted to write this book mainly because it is a way for me to transmit a frequency for the desires I want. I also realized that this may not be the ultimate way for me to get that which my wife and I desire, but it feels right and I feel good doing this. It comes with certain ease, in my opinion, to write this book. So we encourage the reader that, by all means, please do the same and ask for an answer of what it is that you do better than anyone. It is said that sometimes when we do things that we find easy and fun to do, we believe others can do the same things much easily or as easily as we are able to do it. The reality is that is not the case. Our natural abilities are unique in themselves, but it is true that it is through perseverance and persistence that we must exploit such abilities. Our potential will continue to be untapped if we do not exercise our inner faculties and abilities. This is true success and commitment, that we love what we do while doing what we love. At the same time, we are using our inner deep abilities. We are creating value for others and enriching their lives. Knowing that it is our lives that are also made prosperous and happy will give us fulfillment and appreciation for life. It will help us to continue finding joy and passion for our individuality. Being a product of what we are given means also not selling out for the sake of profit. We cannot succeed and truly be happy if we are given or selling something that we do not have a strong, powerful belief in. We must at least know that it is a good service to others. But to reach ultra success, we must focus on something we absolutely love. That is the true commitment that we must practically apply, for by asking the universe or God, take your pick, we will find the essence of what we are designed to do. It must happen. By law, you must get an answer, but the choice to pursue will be up to you. Steps 4 and 5. Find a prospect and share the program. This is an interesting definition of action. Prospect is defined as the possibility or likelihood of some future event occurring. Synonyms to this word are hope, expectation, odds, and probability, among others. Another definition explains that it is a person regarded as likely to succeed or as a potential customer or client. The verb form is also rather interesting. Prospect in verb form means to search for minerals, deposits in a place, especially by means of experimental drilling and excavation. It denotes the idea of exploring, surveying, scouting, and inspecting, among others. Quote, into whatever city or village you enter, search out who in it is deserving and stay there until you leave. When you enter the house, greet the household. If the house is deserving, let the peace you wish it come upon it. But if it is not deserving, let the peace from you return upon you. Wherever anyone does not receive you or listen to your words, on going out of that house or that city, shake the dust of your feet. End quote, taken from Matthew. People believe that they must be skillful salespersons to achieve what they want. Like an orchestra of perfect symphony, selling skills will add to your abilities and are useful, but not necessary. A prospect is just that, a possibility, a potential. When offering our program through networking or other means of advertising, we must know what the laws of physics will do when we put our name or product to work. Quote, the kingdom of the heavens is like a mustard grain that a man took and planted in his field. It is in fact the tiniest of all the seeds, but when it has grown, it is the largest of the vegetable plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of heaven come and find lodging among its branches. The kingdom of the heavens, our personal desired outcome, is like leaven that a woman took and mixed with 3 large measures of flour until the whole mass was fermented. End quote. Taken from Matthew. Let's examine what is being implied here by these illustrations. First, we must know that when we are talking to individuals, in reality, we are searching out those who are deserving of our services. Since it is suggested that we may have a strong belief in the benefits of what we have to offer, then, like mining and digging for gold, we will find many people that will say no to us, our services or products. Our intention is not the intention of selling one specific person, but that we desire to find those who want and desire what we have will help us to continue and persevere in moving on to the next prospect. This puts things into perspective, for we will just shake the dust of our feet whenever we find those who have no interest. Second, the interesting part is that a powerful physical law is being implemented here through this process. Our transmission of frequency will begin to permeate our matrix reality. Thus, every time we do a presentation of services or products, the other person's exposure to such things is also a broadcast of frequency. In essence, they are helping us to transmit our desired outcome regardless of their response. It will exponentially help us to bring it into our reality. This is why the more times we expose our product to others, regardless of their response, the faster our desires will reach the tipping point to its physical manifestation. Like leaven fermenting a whole mass, the collective transmission of all the brains will continue to permeate the ether until it reaches critical mass. This is what Nikola Tesla suggested in relation to the inexorable agents that prevent a mass from changing suddenly its velocity. It is the thinking that will eventually change the present circumstances to the desired outcome. Nothing else does it. The 100-monkey effect will kick in, and our energy of our desired outcome will land in other people's brains. And eventually, we will absolutely find those who desire what we are offering. This is why we must be resolved to continue in our ability to persist in what we have to offer, since it is not our skills but the collective transmission of what we desire that will create it. Knowing this by nature will help us to know that, regardless of how many failures we have or refusals that we get, such responses are irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, or the systematic in order of things according to the universe. Napoleon Hill said that we must dig through tons of dirt just to find a few ounces of gold. By all means, let's find our gold by digging deeper. So like a tiny mustard grain that we plant, by watering and fertilizing of our seed, we share the program with as many people we can until that seed becomes a big tree where others find shade and others benefit. Step 6. Answering questions and overcoming objections, following up and following through. Quote, "Look, a sower went out to sow. As he was sowing, some seeds fell alongside the road, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell on rocky ground, where there was not much soil, and they immediately sprang up because the soil was not deep. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. Still others fell on the fine soil, and they began to yield fruit. This one 100 times more, that one 60, the other 30." End quote. Taken from Matthew chapter 13, verses 3 through 8. This text was previously discussed in connection to our seeds as dream, but it also relates closely to what we can expect from individuals whom we may come in contact with. For example, we realize that most people may say no and show no interest, but since they send out a transmission as they contemplate what we desire, then we want to buy as much time as we can from them. Skillfully answering questions and overcoming objections to have them think about our program in a positive light will help us to plant seeds in their minds of their own dreams in connection with our desires and services. By following up and following through, we can continue to water and fertilize those seeds so that we may expand upon that vibration of frequency. What to expect? The illustration of birds coming to eat up the seeds will help us realize that we will absolutely find those who have interest, or at least consider what we offer. The reality is that sooner or later they may change their own mind through their own cognition or from others' negative influence. Either way, it does not matter. Others may begin to engage in our program but have no real deep interest. Their interest may just be polite, superficial. Others may come up and become excited about our program, but others' opinions will supersede their desire to be truly committed. Finally, as we persist in marketing our program, it is the law that we will continue to find those who will give us the fruitage we desire. It is our desire to find those who will replicate our efforts through business relationships. Quote, "No man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself or get all the credit for doing it." End quote, taken from Andrew Carnegie. The hope of pursuing this system of following through and following up is to create a mastermind where, through a common interest, we can exponentially reach ultra success. It is paramount that we realize that, just like Andrew Carnegie, who had a mastermind of 20 people to achieve what he did, we can also scientifically replicate such success. Steps 7 and 8. Start them right by plugging them into the system. Our goal at this point of the program is, once we have replicated this process and created a mastermind for our desired result, to lead by example and to plug our mastermind into these systems. What systems? Consider that in the biblical reference, Jesus first chose a group of people, mainly 12 disciples, so that his efforts in spreading his teachings will be replicated. The replication will be perpetuated through the next generations. This process has been replicated and continues to be repeated and engaged in by many successful companies and organizations. We are looking for those who will commit to their dreams and goals, not just have a superficial interest. Reading books, listening to audio, attending events with like-minded individuals, while participating in giving and receiving recognition are all necessary for progressive milestones of success. It is this first system that we must hand down to replicate, so once we find fine pearls who will engage in their dreams by means of our chosen field or program of services or products, they also become successful. But first, we must be reading books and listening to audio every day before our mastermind does. First, we must attend educational meetings and personal development seminars to have our mastermind do the same. And finally, we must first engage in giving proper recognition for their success by making every possible effort to make our mastermind successful. Then truly we will become successful because what we focus on expands, and that which we nourish and strengthen must grow first and prosper before we can reap fruitage. Zig Ziglar said, quote, "You can get everything in life you want if you just help enough people get what they want." End quote. The second system is replicating this 8-step pattern of success by sharing this with our mastermind. It is paramount that we acknowledge and give positive recognition to our mastermind's goals and dreams. And by doing so, we will get what we want faster. It is important that we help them make a commitment to their goals and dreams so they may focus and achieve them. We easily root for our favorite sports teams, and therefore it is insanity if we don't cheer for those who are close to us in a harmonious mastermind. It is imperative that we help our mastermind group to find their innate abilities so they may find their niche and accomplish their dreams and goals. We must also find the time and energy to support our mastermind in prospecting and marketing their chosen field of endeavors. Finally, it is paramount that the mastermind meetings continue to be built upon a unanimous agreement where everyone promises to engage in this system of reading books and listening to audio, which helps the mastermind be built up by information and instruction. Proper recognition of each other's dreams must be positive and applied to the success of each individual member. What most happen is that the mastermind will get together in harmony in the spirit of love and compassion for each other. A real brotherhood of love will perpetuate positively throughout the mastermind, and everything they do will have success. Skipping all the nitty-gritty work. The details of creating a mastermind, a brotherhood where people will support us and each other's dreams and goals in the spirit of love, can seem daunting. Not to worry, there are many organizations in the world that have successfully found pre-established niches of people who do just what we have talked about. We may search the internet and find specific interest groups based on our personal likes. But to create a powerful mastermind based on information that is timely and truly beneficial can be daunting. Remember, understanding whom we must listen and take counsel from is a very important task. What books will our mastermind read? What audio material will our mastermind listen to? What personal development programs will we attend? In this book, the reader will be pointed to what I was personally invited to plug into, a system founded by elite members of society, ultra-successful people who have real-time physical manifestations that prove they have mastered these techniques. I can testify that this system has nourished me and thousands of others to be trees planted by fresh and clear waters. Our lives are better for it. This system was brought to me due to my personal transmission of energy. Through people and circumstances, I am now privileged to be mentored by incredibly successful people. I have strong belief in its leaders, and I have come to find out that they are people of strong integrity. The company is filled with positive, enthusiastic people who also come to know the integrity and power of this system. Like-minded people are drawn to each other. There is an overabundant exchange, and thus the compensation of those who engage in this system get tremendous value from its core value. The most important value and asset that we will derive once engaged is that we will develop a powerful belief in ourselves. This will be touched on in a later chapter.